Hi there, my name is Nick, and I'm just sitting down digesting a real filling meal that was cooked using off-grid technology. The off-grid technology in question was principally this. This is a solid fuel briquette that was made out of paper which was cut up or torn up, soaked in water, turned into a mash, then all the water was squeezed out of it aggressively, okay, and then it was left to dry for many days. It made a perfect fuel. The other technology I used was this. It's a piece of jute rope which has been soaked in wax. That helped with lighting the fire initially. And I used a few splashes of this stuff, namely homemade ethanol, just to help to maintain the combustion when basically, the flames were subsiding a little and it was getting a bit smoky. But essentially, I managed to cook a meal off grid. You're about to see the footage, okay, which is just like right after me sitting here talking to you. And then essentially you can, see how the way I've done things. What I should have done was broken up my blocks much smaller, and I should have had a much more aggressive fire to start off with, using a much more aggressive kindling, rather than just relying upon jute rope and alcohol, I now believe. The end result was in fact really rather good, and yes, I did actually manage to cook my meal. But what I would say is the quality of heat which came off, I feel would have been better used for sausages or for burgers rather than for a container which had no lid. I could have of course used my steamer with the lid on top. That would probably have done a much better job because it would have been enclosed. But I did try and go all like totally backwoodmanship, totally bushcraft, and have that open top container, which is of course one of my mess tins. When the flames came up, it was real good to see it happen, and also to know that I was using fuel which I had made myself out of domestic waste, which in this particular case was just paper, white paper, torn up envelopes, till receipts, and all the rest of that jazz. Okay, so don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, favorite, and share. Here comes the rest of the footage. I hope you enjoy it, and remember, don't forget the links below. Okay, I'm taking a couple of my paper mache briquettes, and I'm going to make a fire, and I'm going to see if I can do some cooking on it, and we'll see whether we can, get the right kind of results. I've broken these up smaller, so that might work better with this type of fireplace. I don't know. It's an experiment. What more can you say? I just rather like the fact that, you can take something from paper and make it sound like wood all over again. It's... I actually think that's quite cool. It's in its own little right. So these things are going to be quite useful. As part of my off-grid exploration, I'm going to see whether I will need to or might want to build a cheap or free press that might be better for making better quality blocks. But I would have thought that a higher quality of compression would probably make a longer burning block. So I suppose you need to work out whether you need to release the energy quickly or slowly, taking into account what you want to use the energy for when you're cooking outside or heating and boiling water. So I just thought I'd show you this prior to me setting fire to it all and seeing what kind of result I can get. Just igniting it with one silver jute rope and candle wax fire lighter, and so far it's going okay. We seem to have fire. You'll notice there's a lot lower smoke than just doing paper and cardboard by itself, and that's actually quite positive. So the coals are actually going quite nicely, the fire is spreading quite well. It's quite a good flame pattern in there. Got a bit of steam on top of the rice and lentils. I get the feeling it would have been a lot more reliable if I'd broken the fuel up much smaller and been much more aggressive with the lighting technology and used like liberal quantities of alcohol just to get the flames up and to get the temperature of the whole device going. Then it would probably have maintained a good stable burn. Now I've added some more fuel, added a touch more alcohol to keep it going, and so obviously I'm rather unhappy I've actually had to add more alcohol, but on the other hand we've got a burn going and that's good. And here we got flames all over the place now. It's looking pretty enticing. Flames at the back, flames at the front. And we're starting to get little bubbles in my rice and lentil mixture. Now it's going. Now it's going well. Just takes a bit of skill just to get everything right. It's not instant, doing this stuff. But if you think about it, all the fuel that's being burned is homemade. And that's what's left over. Okay, and this is the result. Just add myself some tomato puree from the tube just to give it a bit of colour and flavour. Sprinkle of salt and it tastes lovely.